is April 14th, Tuesday. I've got this. I'm getting a lot of help up here, y'all. Tuesday, April 14th, 2026. 7 o'clock, 7:01 now because I got bothered. We'll do roll call. We'll start at my left.
Andover City Council, Marla Canfield.
Tim Brunson, City Council Member.
Jody O'Kane, City Council Member.
Ronnie Price, Mayor.
Tim Berry, City Council Member.
Colin Gallagher, City Council Member.
Homer, City Council Member.
Bub Buchanan, Police Chief.
Rick Lance, Director of Public Works and Utilities.
Julie Boyd, Planning and Zoning Administrator.
Chad Russell, Fire Chief.
Matt King, Finance Director.
JT Klaus, City Attorney.
Dana Engstrom, City Clerk.
Les Mangus, Director of Community Development.
Jolene Graham, Assistant City Administrator.
Jennifer McCausland, City Administrator.
All right. This time, if you would join us in invocation, bow your heads and we'll pray. Heavenly Father, I thank you for this group that's here tonight. I thank you for the swimming team. Thank you for the first responders we have in Andover. They're second to none, city staff, and the great community we live in. Help us to do everything to move the city forward. I thank you for the governing body. And we'll just keep working hard for the citizens, and you show us the direction and the way. In Jesus' precious name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, if you would join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, this time I will open the floor for a public forum. If you have something you'd like to share with the governing body or address the governing body, you have 3 minutes and keep it short. How are you, sir?
Good, how are you?
All right.
I saw on the agenda today, you guys were going to be speaking about some improvements to the north part of the recently constructed Yorktown Parkway. And I wanted to bring to everyone's attention the safety issues on Yorktown Parkway South. And with all the traffic by the YMCA, I was hoping that we'd have streetlights by the time that the Y was opened back up again after the tornado, but that hasn't been done yet. Are there any plans to get that completed, or can we expedite that for safety reasons? I know there's a lot of pedestrians and traffic that go in and out of that whole area.
Streetlight where? I'm sorry.
Anywhere on South Yorktown, there's one streetlight that's part of the interchange right now at Yorktown and US 54, but that's the only streetlight. And with the amount of traffic and pedestrians there, it would be nice to have that in place.
I don't think there's any plans on having a stoplight from 400 to the rest of to 13th Street, to my knowledge.
No, I'm sorry, sir. Streetlights.
Oh, streetlights. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I just wanted to put that out there for everyone's consideration.
Okay.
So,
All right.
thank you.
Sorry, I misunderstood. Anyone else? All right, public forum's closed. Acceptance of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move to accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 All opposed, no. Motion carries 6-0. Proclamation 7-1, Andover High School Swimming Team. And Councilman Brunson is going to read this to us.
I'll call the Andover High School swim team up to the podium over here, if you would, and I'll read this proclamation. Whereas the Andover High School swim and dive team achieved an extraordinary milestone by winning their fourth consecutive 5-1A state championship, and whereas individual athletes earned top honors at the state level, including Clark Young, who placed first in the 200 individual medley, and Eric Witt, who placed first in the 100 breaststroke, and whereas the team of Clark Young, Eric Witt, Henry Christensen, and Blake Royce secured a first place finish in the 400 freestyle relay, showcasing exceptional teamwork and determination. And whereas the team's success is guided by the leadership of swim coach Kelsey Biebighauser and dive coach Melody Turley, who was named State Dive Coach of the Year. And whereas the accomplishments of the Andover High School swim and dive team bring great pride and recognition to the city of Andover and serve as an inspiration to student athletes throughout the community. Therefore, I, Tim Brunson, with the City Council assembled in regular session on the 14th day of April, hereby proclaim April 15th, 2026, Andover High School Boys Swim Team Day. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Coach. Is that Coach of the Year as well? Is that what that said? That, nice, nice.
Way better than tax day. Swim team day. Parents, feel free to come take a picture if you like to. Or get in the picture. I highly advise that as well. We won't run out of film. That's an old school joke.
Smile at the camera, boys.
Thanks. Excellent job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
4 years. Four years in a row.
That's pretty cool.
I don't think I can swim still.
Y'all have to stay till the meeting's over.
We get another jury. That's my swimming. It's like just to the.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Congratulations.
All right, 8-1 through 8-7 consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve consent agenda items 8.1 through 8.7 as presented.
Second. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 All opposed, no. Motion carries 6-0. Special use 1030, special use 1023 North Andover Road. And I have a doodad to read. This is an application requesting to first special use checklist, case number Z-SU 26-0001. This is an application requesting to allow for pet grooming and pet boarding in the B2 Neighborhood Business District on the property generally located at 1023 North Andover Road, Andover, Kansas. Before we proceed with the hearing, I'll ask the council if any of them intend to disqualify themselves from participating in this case because they have a conflict of interest. No?
No.
No.
I will now ask city council if any of them have received any ex parte verbal or written communication prior to this agenda item which they would like to share.
No.
No.
No. Has the city clerk received any protest petitions on the case?
No, sir.
I now ask council members if they have received copies of the draft minutes of the Planning Commission for March 17, 2026, which summarizes the hearing of this case.
Yes.
Yes. I now call on city zoning administrator to provide us with a report on this case.
Mayor and council, what we have here is a pretty simple special use case. The existing business at this address at 1023 North Andover Road is currently limited to having 3 dogs on site at any given time. In the B2 zone, dog grooming and boarding, or pet grooming and boarding, I should say, is not listed in the UDM as a specific special use, but all of the special uses have a provision that says that if it's something that kind of fits with the intent of the zone, it could be considered for a special use. The applicant here is asking to see no more than 20 dogs at a given time, and that would be from what we understand, absolute maximum. Wouldn't usually be anywhere near that, with some limited boarding as well. But the applicant has communicated to us that they don't intend to operate a kennel. which has some different requirements to it. In this case, it's more for some training that they want to do. Just only being able to have 3 dogs on site at once makes it very difficult for the business to operate, is what we understand. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this at their March 17th meeting. And while this is, as I said, not something listed under this zone as a special use, last year we had a very similar case that is now the Bark 44, as you all know. That's the B4 zone, which shares a lot of uses with the B2 zone, another business use there. So it's a very similar case near a lot of residential businesses that would be served by being able to go to a dog grooming and boarding place nearby. So we think it's a great special use.
Are there any questions for the zoning administrator from council members?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
Julie, in regards to boarding versus kennel, what's the difference?
A kennel would be we have a pretty specific definition in the UDM. The applicant wasn't really referring to that when they told us that, but they don't intend to keep animals for a very long period. It's very limited boarding, like maybe overnight, occasionally. The point of
I saw that
business-
referenced in here that it wasn't a kennel, but I didn't know what the difference was. So
Yeah, the idea of the business, from our understanding, is not to hold animals for a long period of time. It's just that sometimes somebody wants to leave them overnight for training or whatever.
Okay, thanks, Mayor.
Anyone else? Have any written communication been received for the city clerk? Is that right?
No, sir.
We would like to welcome anyone interested in this agenda item to come to the podium and give your name and address. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. The governing body has been provided. The draft minutes and the video of the public hearing has been made available. So please limit your comments to information not previously shared at the public hearing held on March 17th, 2026. Does anyone from the public have any new information? No one is here, so that'd be a no. Does the applicant have any further response to public comments? There weren't any, so proceed forward. Assuming the city council has received all the information they need on this case, you have received the outline of choices provided under state statutes for council actions KSA 12-757C. Council, how do you wish to act?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move we adopt the findings of fact and recommendation of the Planning Commission to approve the application for the special use of pet grooming and pet boarding at 1023 North Andover Road, Andover, Kansas.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, no. Motion carries 6-0. Persons aggrieved by the final decision of the council on this matter have 30 days after today's action in which to appeal to the district court. All right, 10-1, RHID resolution of intent, Penner property, and Jolene is going to speak to us on this.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I want to take some time to walk through this as it is our first RHID process. That said, this is not the first time that you have seen this property. The City Council annexed the Penner property in September of 2023 and approved a preliminary PUD in November of 2024. The site consists of roughly 73 acres, approximately a half mile north of 21st Street on the east side of Andover Road. It is currently under consideration for development by Schellenberg Development Company out of Wichita. Despite those approvals, the project has been at a standstill, not for lack of interest, but because of real infrastructure costs, obstacles tied directly to this property's location. And this context matters for tonight's conversation. RHID isn't being recommended to give the developer a windfall, but it's being considered because this site faces cost burdens that comparable properties in Andover do not. Two immediate infrastructure barriers specific to this site are initially apparent. Because the Penner property lies within Rural Water District 5's service area, rather being served by the City of Wichita's water, the developer faces higher water infrastructure costs. Our Community Development Director, Les Mangus, worked closely with Rural Water District 5 and was able to negotiate duplicative developer fees out of the equation. Additionally, we've worked with our city attorney, JT Klaus, to structure the offsite water improvements as special assessments rather than requiring them as upfront developer costs. This is a meaningful step forward on those two fronts. However, even with those wins, water costs for this site do remain higher than for a comparable City of Wichita water-served development in Andover. Butler Rural Electric is a significant and a new barrier. This one deserves a bit of an explanation. Both Evergy and Butler Rural Electric charge developers an upfront per lot fee to establish service. The critical difference is in what happens next. Evergy reimburses the developer over time as the development is built out, and it recovers its infrastructure investment through user fees. The net cost to the developer is zero. Butler Rural Electric recently changed their model for new development. They charge the same type of upfront fee, but there is no reimbursement mechanism for the developer. Current estimates for this project under Butler Rural Electric's model are well over $1 million with no recovery path for the developer. Now, we are still finalizing the complete infrastructure cost picture, and we'll present the feasibility analysis to you at your April 27th workshop. And that will be your first deep dive into the financials. But I did want to give you that preview. Now, you as a governing body have invested significant time in this past year updating your economic development policies. One of the stated guiding principles is fairness. Projects must demonstrate community-wide benefits and avoid unfair competitive advantages. Staff is not looking to recommend that you eliminate special assessments or give this development a pass. The goal is to level the playing field. A developer building in most parts of Andover with Wichita Water and Evergy service doesn't face Rural Water District 5 costs and doesn't absorb the Butler Rural Electric's fees. This RHID is proposed to channel the new property tax increment that this development generates back into addressing those extraordinary infrastructure costs. So this site can compete on something closer to equal footing with other developments in our community. So for tonight, before you is a resolution of intent, and it is the first step in a multi-step process. It is important to be clear about what this vote does and does not do. It does initiate the formal statutory process, and by approving it, you would make the required findings based on the housing needs assessment that you reviewed in November of 25. It does identify a proposed RHID boundaries for the Penner property. However, it does not commit the city to establishing the district or approve any financial structure or development agreement. So due diligence is really kind of built into this process. You will have multiple additional decision points before any final action is taken. As mentioned, you'll have the feasibility analysis presented to you at your next workshop on April 27th. And the developers, Marv and Dylan Schellenberg of Schellenberg Development Company, will be available to be able to present concepts and to be able to answer your questions. So tonight, you'll consider the findings and identify the RHID boundaries. Should you approve the resolution before you tonight, the next step is for staff to send a certified copy to the Kansas Department of Commerce for the required approval. After your workshop, you will be presented with a resolution to set a public hearing. And right now, with our current timeline, we're looking at May 12th. And then the public hearing will be held and you'll consider an ordinance to formally establish the district. And the earliest date that we could do that with the statutory requirements is June 30th. Now, after adoption of any ordinance, by state statute, both USD 385 and Butler County will be formally notified if the district is established by you. Each then has 30 days to file an objection if they find the district would have an adverse effect on the jurisdiction based on their taxing perspective. Based on that current timeline, that window is estimated to close on July 30th. Rather than waiting for this statutory notification, developers and staff have already been in communication with both entities, and we are proactively presenting to the school board on May 11th and to the county on May 12th, giving both partners a full picture of the proposal including the feasibility analysis well before that clock starts. So to conclude, we do recommend that you approve this resolution of intent to start the process, and all of your options will be preserved to go forward. It is not a final commitment, and the process ahead will allow for your due diligence. I want to close by recognizing a few people. Community Development Director Les Mangus and City Engineer Kevin Graham have been integral in evaluating this RHID application, each from their own particular areas of expertise. And City Attorney JT Klaus and his team have and will continue to keep us between the curbs at every step, ensuring that we meet all state statute requirements. And I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
So I don't really have a question. I have a statement, though. If we'd had this tool in our toolbox before, we wouldn't have lost the 600 homes that were planned for over a 6-year period, because long and short is the water was the issue. And the reason he pulled out of the wanting to do the development, correct? Is that not fair to say?
I think that's one of the obstacles that developer was facing, yes, for
Yes.
sure.
And at the same time, it's opened up another opportunity to the south for more residential housing because of this tool, the RHID. So I just want to make sure we understand that it's a worthy tool. And Jolene and Les and them speak much more intelligently than I can, but it's a worthy tool to have in our toolbox for us to continue to grow as a city, specifically with water from the Rural Water 5 district, correct?
Correct.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
on that note, kind of speaking to what the mayor said too, and you were describing, it's a level playing field and fairness. Why aren't we going all the way to 60th Street with this district? Because isn't that all Penner property right there in your exhibit here, if you will?
What is shaded is the 73 acres that the developer has under consideration.
So why wouldn't we as a city, do we have to have a developer to make this district?
That is correct.
We can't just open up
No.
all
it's-
the way to the 60th?
And that is something different than like what you're used to with the NRA or NRP process, where you can define a district without having to really narrow down on a certain development. This is development specific.
So do we have the latitude then, if a developer does choose on the north half of the Penner property to do this then later, or could they piggyback onto this one? No piggybacking, they would have to do their own RHID.
It would be an entirely new RHID, a completely different district.
So just to be clear, the Penner property, as we call it, is split in half now. It's not the whole piece. So the piece to Les, correct me if I'm wrong, the piece to the north is what we call the Penner property as well, but it's two different.
Owners now?
Yes, sir.
Uh-oh,
Anyone else?
JT's got.
Just one additional insight, because I thought it was a very good question. One of the reasons you wouldn't want to get too far ahead of yourself on the RHID is that after it's formed, it's only good for 25 years. And that 25 years starts to run once it takes effect. So you wouldn't want to start that time period of the increment to run on property that is developmentally 5 or 10 years out. That would be a mistake.
Thanks, JT.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
on this property, have they already talked about the number of homes or the type of homes that they're planning on putting there? Or is this just the preliminary portion where we're talking about the RHID only, and that would come at a later time?
So they are looking at roughly 200 single-family homes, entry level, that would tie in really well with our housing needs assessment. And they're talking about several dozen duplexes. And that final development concept will be presented to you on the 27th.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the resolution of intent to establish a reinvestment housing incentive district within the city.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? So I'd like to make sure we understand, because we had this discussion last week. If two of those properties decided that they wanted to do the RHID at the same time, they still have to do it as separate entities. There's no,
That
hey,
is,
let's join together and do this. It's two separate entities.
that is correct, because, a lot of whether or not a development is feasible to have a return on the investment, you have to consider the type of home being developed, their build out rate, the cost, and whether or not it fits in your housing needs assessment. So those are all factors that have to be considered as part of this. And each development then will be different.
Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor, I'll just, before we get too far ahead into this, I remember in my time on the school board, the concern about the north side being overloaded with young families, and I think it's great and definitely meets this criteria that we have in our housing needs assessment. Has the school district expressed any concern around more north end development?
That's an excellent question. And the developer had concerns as well. So we met very early on with the school district leadership, and I have been providing periodic updates in terms of RHID. And in fact, on the housing needs assessment, they had a staff member sit on that committee. So they have been actively involved since last fall as part of this. And, part of what they have shared is that they are concerned about enrollment numbers.
Right.
And that part of it is, being able to have entry-level homes for families to be in the district.
Sure.
So no, I have not anticipated or heard yet any objections to this.
Okay.
And just part of the issue is, Mr. Brinson, is we're limited by our jurisdiction on which direction we go. And as the world is, in reality, north and east is our choices. South is not option, west is not option. So 13th Street and 21st Street and Andover Road are clearly the best we can do right now. 400 is a dream someday, but we have no sewer lines out there that keeps us from being able to go out that direction. All right, anyone else? Good question, though. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, no. Motion carries 6-0. 2026, 2027 employee benefit renewal. Chastity, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good. So it's one of the few times that I get to come visit you at council. And this time I am talking about our employee benefits. Our benefit plan runs from July 1 through June 30 of each year. And so now it's time to talk about renewal. The city's overall benefits program remains financially stable and is performing well, specifically our medical plan. As we're wrapping up our third year being self-funded, it's projected to generate significant savings for 2026. Even with the recommended improvements, such as lower copays and continued HSA contributions, the city expects to save nearly $250,000 in medical costs. Employee contribution percentages and rates for medical plans will remain unchanged. Most other benefits will see a modest increase, mainly driven by higher usage, including dental, vision, disability, and our employee assistance program. Vision costs are increasing more significantly due to recommendations for enhancing benefits, while disability rates are rising due to increased claims. However, some programs, such as COBRA, flexible spending accounts, life insurance, and voluntary life products, will have no rate changes or include multi-year rate guarantees. Financially, the benefits plan is in a strong position, currently running under budget by $273,000. This favorable performance is expected to continue, allowing the city to absorb these increased costs in some areas while still funding benefit enhancements. Overall, there are no major concerns about sustaining the plan through the current cycle, and the future renewal costs will be considered in the 2027 budget plan. Now, I'm going to turn it over to Jayla and Jennifer with our broker IMA to give you all the in the weeds details.
Good evening, council. It's nice to see you all, or most of you, again, and some new faces. I don't know why I need to go. Chastity did a great job of explaining what was going on with the benefits. But it's been a really good third year, as Chastity mentioned, into self-funding. The plan is running at 63.3% of expected. That is right now with a reserve of $273,000. That equates to about 2 months of current plan spend. And our recommendation, particularly for municipalities, is to have 3 to 6 months in reserves, which they have 2 so far in this plan year, and reserves from the last 2 years of the self-funded plan running well. So I'm excited for the third year in a row to come to you and say that the plan medical renewal for 2026 is a 0.2% increase, which equates to $3,190 overall. It's recommended to renew with all current partners. So UMR is the current third-party administrator, Smith RX is the current pharmacy benefit manager, and Sun Life is the current stop-loss carrier. Chastity mentioned 2 enhancements to the plan. So we deployed a voice of the employee survey to get feedback earlier this year, asking if we had to make changes to the medical plan, what would you like to see? And so within the medical plan, we were able to do 2 enhancements. We are recommending to drop the copay for mental health outpatient services from 25 to 0. That would be for in and out of network providers. And then chiropractic care, we are going to drop the copay from $50 today to $25 for both in and out of network providers. So that is the recommendation. These enhancements only qualify or are applicable to the copay plans. Anybody who is currently enrolled in the qualified high deductible health plan would have to pay their deductible first in order to meet those requirements. Given the strong health plan performance over the last 3 years and the accumulated reserves, we are recommending that the city budget below expected claims this year. To Chastity's point, it will be a savings of $245,400. This equates to around a 13.2% decrease for the 2026 plan year. And the city will then be budgeting at 87% of expected. Based on our financial projections, we don't anticipate any issues with budgeting the plan below expected income going into this next plan year. In the case that the plan year does perform, and hotter in a way we didn't anticipate, there are reserves in the health fund to be able to manage those things that could come up. Employee contributions will remain the same for 2026. And being able to realize some savings, the employee dollar amounts will remain the same, but we are able now to have the contributions as follows on each of the 4 plan designs. The $1,000 deductible will be at 15%, the $1,500 deductible at 12%, the $2,500 deductible at 9%, and the $3,500 high deductible health plan at 6%. So that is the amount percentage the employees will pay on each of those plans. Before the city moved self-funded, this had been the same contribution structure that had been in place. There were 3 plans. They were structured at 15%, 13%, and 10%. And the goal is to remain at these employee contribution percentages in future years so that the city and employees share in increases, decreases equally. They'll be looked at annually, but that is the goal in getting back to this structure. In an effort to support those who do choose to be on the qualified high deductible health plan, we are recommending that the city continue to provide a seat in the HSA of $500 for individuals, $1,000 for family. Those dollars were included in our budget projections that we provided to the city. So the total estimated cost for the 2026 medical renewal is $1,610,000, and our recommendation is to approve the renewal as presented. Any questions on the medical renewal before I move on?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
might as well throw a couple out there, Jayla. I mean, you
For
came
sure.
all this way, right?
Yes.
So in regards to the survey,
Yeah.
were we given those results or anything, or is that something that's kept private?
They will be anonymous. They are coming. So we got the final big results kind of in the middle of working through renewal. We had some preliminary results that allowed us to kind of make some of these changes that we're presenting to you. But we will work with the city administration to review the full results, and then they can disperse after that.
And then on the HSA seed money,
Mhm.
did that increase at all or that stayed flat?
It stayed flat. I mean, there are 7 people enrolled in the high deductible health plan today. So I guess 7 people from, none when we added the plan last year. So I think we anticipate that staying flat this year.
Okay, thank you very much.
Anyone else? All right.
Okay, moving on to dental. The dental plan is with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas. The renewal rates were released at a 1.7% above current. Total estimated increase being $2,078. The employees pay 15% of those premiums, and so the city is impacted by $1,767. Our recommendation is to renew dental for 2026. For life, voluntary life, disability, and police and fire disability, all of these coverages are with the standard, and they renew on July 1st. The life and voluntary life had no rate increase or benefit changes and included a new 2-year rate guarantee. Short-term disability rates are increasing by 35.5%. That equates to $7,800. For 2 reasons. One, there was just higher utilization, higher short-term disability claims over the last 2 years. And secondly, we are recommending adding a provision to this plan to allow the city to pay sick pay on top of short-term disability to make an employee whole while they are out. This provision, the standard just added a load to the rates to add this provision into the plan. Long-term disability, the rates are increasing by 9.25%. This equates to $830, again, due to prior claims experience. This is also a 2-year rate guarantee. We are recommending renewing all lines of coverage with the standard, with the anticipation of marketing these coverages for 2027. The vision benefits are with Surancy, and the renewal as is was released as a rate pass. Again, from the feedback from the Voice of the Employee survey, it was overwhelmingly shared that employees wanted to see an increase in the vision benefits. And so we looked at an option to increase the benefit allowance from $150 to $250 on both the materials only and the comprehensive vision plan. The enhancement by increasing the benefit allowance by $100, increased rates by 70%. This equates to $14,722. The city will continue to pay 85% of the materials only plan, and then we'll bring that same dollar amount and pay toward a comprehensive plan. So employees can buy up to have the coverage. Our recommendation, so the city's cost, will be an increase of $10,840, and then will be funded using the medical plan savings. We are recommending that the vision be renewed with Surancy and approve the increased benefit allowance. The final lines of coverage for your with your recommendation tonight would be flexible spending. So FSA is under rate guarantee with Surancy. The health savings account is also under rate guarantee with Surancy, and both are recommended to renew. The wellness and health risk assessment, we do have tobacco and non-tobacco rates. We do recommend those continuing for the 2026 plan year. Tobacco users pay 5% more in their premiums. And then finally, the Employee Assistance Program, MPAC. So that EAP plan is an increase of 22.6%. This is $922. And our recommendation is to renew with MPAC as well. So any questions on the final lines of coverage?
Any questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
on impact, if I read that a 22% increase in annual cost has been applied to keep the rates flat, we would have to reduce the number of therapy sessions. We are
Yes.
not reducing.
We are not. We're renewing as is with the same amount of therapy sessions for the year. Yes.
Anyone else? Okay.
Okay. That's all I have. I guess I should also add Jennifer is up here with me because I am stepping down as the client executive for IMA for the city of Andover. I received a promotion, and so in doing so, I had to shift my book of business. So I have talked with Chastity and Jenny. I've worked with the city since 2013 doing wellness in one capacity or another. So I think probably my longest client just with my tenure at IMA. So you're a little bittersweet to, oh my God. Woo. A little bittersweet, but just excited to work with all of you. And it's been great. And you are in great hands with Jennifer. So
Jennifer, welcome to the circus.
And you'll still be at IMA, Jill, if
I'll
we have
still
any
be at IMA.
questions,
You can
right?
still, yeah, you can still find me if you
I know
need
where to find her.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Looking forward to working with you all.
Thank
Good
you.
luck in your new position.
Us as well, thank you. All right. 12-1 Heritage West Resolution of Intent. I missed one?
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
I move we approve insurance
Oh.
renewals for 2026 through
That's kind of
2027 plan year for the various providers utilized as presented.
Second.
Second.
Man, I got choked up, man. You started getting choked up so
And I
bad.
can't leave.
Any further questions or discussion?
I do have a question,
Yes.
Jenny, Jolene, Chastity. I would like to see the Voice of Employee survey. I would actually like it to come from IMA, if IMA can send it to us. Just so we see the data, and make sure, we see everything on the data, if that's possible.
Sure. To be clear, I haven't seen the results of the Voice of the Employee yet. So yes, they are hot off the presses.
Perfect. Yeah, so.
We'll also provide an executive summary. We'll walk through the results in detail with the city administration staff. So all of that will be provided, so you have access to that once we get the opportunity to go through them.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'd like to see the raw, see the data that comes to us, because I know sometimes it gets filtered, so I'd like to see the raw data. So,
All right, thank you. You have anything else you'd like to add, Chastity?
Nope.
Thank you for your
Mr.
time. I
Mayor.
appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
so I guess in the note on the survey, why is the survey like, why don't you have the results before we've done this?
So we have some of the results. The survey was not just over benefits. It was over a lot of other things. It was culture, safety. It wasn't just benefits. So we looked at the results for the benefit stuff, knowing that we needed to get all this in front of you guys. And then they can go back and do the deeper dive to get a comprehensive executive summary put together for us.
Did HR put on the Voice of the Employee survey, or was that IMA that put on the Voice of the Employee survey?
Yep. IMA sent that out, and employees could respond through a link that was specific to them. So
Thanks, Chas.
Mr. Mayor,
Gee, Chastity.
what was the percentage of response from the employees for the city, roughly?
I think we had 90.
responses.
Wow.
I mean, it was a very good response rate, one of the highest.
90% or 90%?
90 respondents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have about 105 full-time
Oh, okay.
employees. And because it covered benefits and everything that's only offered the full-time employees, that's who we asked to complete it. So
Any negative comments about the mayor?
I don't recall seeing those, but I might have amnesia too. I'm just kidding.
Thank you, ladies.
You don't need to darken those out or anything. Don't black them out. You can highlight them, underline them.
Redacted.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone else? All right. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, no. Motion carries 6-0.
thank you.
Thank you all. 12-1 Heritage West Resolution of Intent amended. And JT.
Mr. Mayor, council members, in 2024, you approved a resolution of intent to issue industrial, we called them multifamily housing revenue bonds for the benefit of OPG Heritage West Partners LLC. This was for the purpose of constructing an independent living community for residents where at least one member of the household is age 55 in Ann Arbor, Kansas. We call it Heritage West. That facility is located in your TIF finance area, and it has been under construction. In the course of inquiring about the status of the sales tax exemption, which was the benefit for this, it occurred to us that our resolution of intent would have expired in December of 2025 for issuing these bonds. The facility is under construction and it's actually nearing completion as I understand it, but in order to hold open the possibility of issuing those bonds, which would be essential for the sales tax exemption, it is necessary to extend the deadline for that resolution. It had a deadline of issuing the bonds for December of 2025, and this resolution would just extend it to December of 2026. I'd be delighted to answer any questions. The OPG Heritage West Partners are watching live stream, and if you have any questions, I can call them on my phone and they will answer them for you.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt a resolution amending Resolution 24-10 regarding the intent of the governing body of the city of Andover, Kansas to issue certain multifamily housing revenue bonds in an amount not to exceed $13 million for the purpose of purchasing, acquiring, constructing, furnishing, and equipping a commercial facility in Andover, Kansas.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 All opposed, no. Motion carries 6-0. Evergy Yorktown Parkway Street Lighting. Les is going to talk to us about that.
Mr. Mayor and Council, for your consideration tonight is the cost of upgrading the street lighting package on Yorktown Parkway from Central Avenue to 13th Street, from wooden poles with standard street light mast and overhead service to the black steel poles that we've used on the first two Yorktown projects with underground services. The cost is a little over $3,000 per pole over the past 7 years since the first Yorktown project. The cost of these has nearly doubled. It's just a effect of the economy and the cost of steel products and lighting products, but that's for your consideration. Evergy has been involved in the design of Yorktown Parkway and coordinated the lighting pattern and the coordination of the poles with the sidewalks and the infrastructure, and they're prepared to begin the job. You may have noticed earlier in the agenda, in the consent agenda, the trenching portion of the project is by separate contract with Betson Trenching, Evergy's preferred trenching contractor. It's kind of a convoluted relationship where there are three parties involved, but at the end of the day, Evergy owns the lights and they provide all the maintenance on the lights at a monthly cost to the city.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Unless, help a non-construction guy here, but why did we not have all that ran when the street was built?
Evergy chooses not to, for fear of their conductors being damaged by the construction operations. They prefer to come in after the fact with their preferred trenching contractor. They will share a trench with their installation of the primary power for the neighborhood for the first half mile of Yorktown Parkway, which saves them some costs and provides us with a one trench operation rather than two separate trenches.
Okay. It just, I mean, honestly, it just seems like a racket. I mean, hey, you have to use our person And we're not going to let you do it while you build the road, even though everything's going to be wide open and, we're putting in new streets, we're putting in new drainage and.
Absolutely. We offered to do that trenching with our road project and they chose not to.
State-of-the-art new lights.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor. I mean, that came up after the tornado too, Tim, is that people were rebuilding their homes and then Evergy had to come in and put streetlights in and they tore up the brand new yards. So that was something that came up. And then Mayor, you brought it up too. They maintain lights, but I think we still have lights around town that are purple. Are those the new, I mean, like, is that really a blue light? Is that the new color? Or will those be changed?
Us K-Staters paid extra for that.
I realize those are Jolene sponsored shelter insurance K-State lights, but
They changed them to turn blue. It's going to be a long, drawn out process. I kind of think they're cool,
It's a phenomenon that's going on across the country with LED lighting. And the last I heard, Evergy had something like 15,000 LED lights around the metro area to change out.
and I Mr. Mayor, do you mind?
No, go ahead.
So in regard, help the non-construction guy or the guy that hasn't gone out and counted all the lights, the same distance from the other two Yorktown projects, and I'm calling it from north of 54 up to Central. Are the lights, street lights at the same distance as this one?
They're very similar spacing. That's why we had Evergy involved from day one on the design of Yorktown Parkway.
Okay, so this side is not getting any more than the side of Kellogg to Douglas. Or, yeah, Douglas, yeah.
Correct.
Thank you. And then in regards to the gentleman earlier, because I didn't want to ask questions of staff when he was here, but to his point, the reason we don't have it south of Kellogg on Yorktown, and I see Rick grabbing the mic, is that due because there's not a lot of residential south that those houses back up and the Y is a like commercial point? Are they, would that, or is there needed more streetlights south of 54?
So that's been brought up over time, and we have engaged with Evergy a couple times on pricing for that. As you've seen some of the pricing for the underground, we've pivoted and went back to them and asked them to revise what the overhead cost would be, because we don't have it slated anywhere and it's quite expensive to do it. Underground, they have a different pricing scheme on the overhead. That had happened a while back, and when he was talking, I realized I don't know that I ever got an answer back on that, so I have to go back and revisit that. But there is a lack of lights on there. I don't know when the street got up and it just didn't happen. And then as it started to develop more down there, it's become more of an issue.
I know I've had even Jerry Jones and other people talk about riding bikes over there. I apologize to the gentleman who's here. I was confused what he was talking about. But it's something we probably need to address sooner or later. Pardon me? Turn your mic on.
It's on.
Sorry about that. We've talked about this since I've been mayor every year, I think. And I want to apologize to the gentleman that was here. I wasn't clear on what he was talking about, but it is an issue. And I've had bicycle riders tell me they about got hit over there. One of them was Jerry Jones, matter of fact. And, but I'm not going to say it. But it needs to be addressed. Very, very, a predecessor of mine who I heard through somebody else said that's what headlights are for, right?
And Rick, to that point, sorry, Mr. Mayor, I don't bicycle, but I do run around that area. And some of those streets are private, right? So we can't control some of those lights, but we definitely could work on Yorktown, right?
Yeah, I believe you're probably referring to some that are over by the YMCA's area over there. So that is a private street over in that one part that I believe you're referring to. But on this particular, where this individual is talking about, is a city street.
Okay.
And we can engage in them, and I will re-engage Evergy. Unfortunately, since that time frame, the person I will engage has changed people. So it'll be a new person, and hopefully it's not a start from scratch, but we'll re-engage.
Thanks, Rick.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Rick, also out of curiosity, and this is just from the newbie, do we ever work with the school district on something like that as well? I'm noticing, of course, the elementary school seems to be a big part around there, and I can imagine late events or kids going over to the Y or so forth, and the times when night comes really early. I'm sure streetlights along that area would be great. Is that something that we'd be able to get them to either help out with or put pressure on Evergy for as well?
They have streetlights all around.
Well, on the
school
school
district.
property, I'm thinking about the street, because I'm looking at the GIS map here, and I mean, it's close. We could,
So to answer your question, we've had them request street lights in particular areas because of the past children were walking. Their desire to participate in that cost has been not expressed. And I don't expect they will. And, you know, obviously it's the cost of installing it. Then, you know, it depends on the light, but it's $15 to $20 a month we pay for each one of those lights. By the way, we pay that annually or monthly for an annual bill. It's a little bit of a budget issue, but that's not why they're not in there. It's not because of the cost of the monthly fee, but there is a cost of installing them that, you know, goes in. But the operation and expense of that would be more of the city. I wouldn't expect the school to have to foot the bill for that necessarily. You know, it's one of the things we can, you know, we can look at. I don't see it being impossible for like a safe routes grant or something like that because it's so minor. And we're going through that right now. I don't see something like that. So it's probably just something we're just gonna have to bite the bullet on and install.
So Les, will it change the equation? Excuse me, I'm having issues now. Will it change the equation if a company develops that southeast corner? Will they be required to have streetlights along that road?
No, Mayor, the streetlights are a public function.
Okay.
The developer would be required to light their parking and access, but not the street necessarily.
All right.
Sorry, go
ahead.
ahead. I have one more question, Les. Is this a moneymaker for Evergy, these street poles? I mean, are they just passing what the manufacturer charges them, or they're like, oh, well, we tack on 20% or?
They're passing through their cost.
Okay.
The cost of any of the ornamental style of streetlight poles has just skyrocketed since COVID. Rick can attest to that. We've had to replace some damaged poles in the Heritage, and just the cost of the replacement pole was
So
$3,000 or
$4,000. If someone damages one of these poles that we're buying, Evergy replaces it though, correct? Because they own the pole.
Correct. They own the poles in this instance, where in Heritage, the city owns that lighting system.
Okay, so they're not going to come to us and say, hey, we're going to put a wooden pole in unless you give us another $5,000 or whatever.
Correct.
I would comment, a good example of that would be if you look, there's a pole that got damaged out here on Yorktown Parkway that obviously they're waiting on a replacement pole to get installed, but that would be a no cost to the city.
Okay, good.
It's extra for KU lights, but.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
As
sir.
it should be.
I motion to approve the Evergy design of street lighting and cost on the Yorktown Parkway, Central Avenue to 13th Street project.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 All opposed, no. Motion carries 6-0. Member items, and I will start with Homer.
Oh, I don't have a lot, but still doing the ACE program. That's going strong. Just finished up with the Andover Fire and Rescue chapter this last week, and it's been really interesting. So I just kudos to the admin staff for being the first week, so that we had everything to gauge off of your presentations. But also kudos to Dana and stuff in regards to bringing this forward, kind of bringing this on. It's been an awesome project, and Chief Russell, good job on that, and pointing out the new logo that you guys have. Awesome job. So it was definitely interesting. I'm not going to give it all away. I think you should participate, but that's all I have in regards to staff. And then I do one more thing. Last meeting, We had some anniversaries, and I thought the presentations were really good. I mean, I know some of our standard managers like always give, the things, and to see Rick get up there and get one from Jolene, I thought that was really good. And then kudos to Les and Chief, doing your kind of shared messaging or whatever on Mickey's anniversary. And then Chief Russell, I know you normally give it, but man, I mean, your fill-in, was it Roosevelt, I think, did a really good job. And also on that note, Deputy Chief Roosevelt, Fire Marshal, did a podcast with the chamber. And if you haven't done that, I mean, I thought, like, what am I going to learn, right? But I listened to it all the way through, and I did learn some things listening to his podcast about businesses and fire prevention. And you guys don't like electrical cords, all the way across a floor to, power other things. So I appreciate that. And so if you get a chance to listen to the Chambers podcast, it's pretty cool. So thank you.
Would you call my wife and talk to her about that? Chicken.
Same thing. I would like to reiterate also as part of the ACE program. I see that there's somebody in the audience right now who's participating in the ACE program. I think it really does speak for something I've said many times before, what the city has put into it and what we are getting out of it. I understand that there are finances that go into this type of thing, and I hope anybody who's listening or may have a slight interest in participating, I hope they will take the chance and see how rewarding it really is. I think it has definitely opened up my eyes into a lot of things within the city, and I'm sitting up here. I think it's an amazing program, and I like to see that there's other people that are getting at least the same amount of enjoyment out of it and information out of it as I am. So other than that, I hope that everybody is enjoying the nicer weather as it comes, and that we have, knock on wood, good weather coming down the road for us. Other than that, I pass on.
I don't have a whole lot to talk about. I just want to, this week on Friday is the Kansas League of Municipalities government training leadership that I'm going to in Salina. So I just want to thank the fine folks of the citizens of Andover that let me go to that. I also, want to, Jenny, I don't know if you can speak about it maybe but a lot of the bills that have been, vetoed, but haven't been passed through, and kind of give us a little bit more information about what
I was only going to talk to you about property tax bill, but if you want, I was going to say.
Property tax is perfect. So.
Do you want me to wait until you're all done with member items, or do you want me to do that now?
Yeah, we wait.
Okay.
You want to? All right. I just got one thing, and it's for Artie, the 25th of this month at 0.9, they're having the Celebrate Trails Day. There will be free treats, free kids' bicycle helmets, while supplies last, bicycle safety checks, live music, giveaways, bicycle ice cream making, and much more. Andover Augusta Rail Trail Initiative. So join us at 0.9, 10 to 2.
What was the date on that?
Saturday, the 25th. 25th. Yep. All right. That's it for me.
I got nothing.
Huh?
I got nothing.
Same.
Wow.
Wow. Oh, I met with Rick and Daniel, and they got me up to speed on budgets. So thank you both for that lesson. Meet with Megan next week. So, and then I would just suggest to everybody follow the Andover Historical Museum's Facebook page. They're doing some really cool stuff right now, and they are working on the story at Andover. So if you're interested, contribute to that. But their photos that they're posting are really cool right now. So go out there and check it out.
Now, Jenny.
All right, Mr. Mayor and Council. So I wish that I was able to tell you for sure this is how we're going to end with property tax legislation for the year, but there could still be a change. On the late hours of Friday, March 27th, you may recall that HB 2745 was passed. It was then vetoed by the governor since we last met on April 8th. She did offer a plan of tax relief of which the next day, a entirely different bill was gutted. It was an insurance bill, House Bill 2043, that had been set aside in 2025. I think they call that a gut and go or something along those lines. So they rip out everything that was in that bill because they can't create new legislation, and they dumped in largely what the bill had been before. However, there are some improvements. Where I feel a little tentative is she could veto it again, and if she vetoes it again, then it's all moot. Matt and I were like discussing the logistics of how this is going to work. We are on April 14, and this bill is, if signed by the governor, in effect this year. So that will mean that probably the budget forms that Matt turns in, we do some reasonably appealing presentations, I think, to the community up here on the screens and out on our website. But there's some very geeky Excel spreadsheets that get submitted to the state of Kansas from all of the taxing jurisdictions that allow us to figure what the mill rates are. Those are going to have to be adapted by, someone at the state. They'll then have to be shared with all of the taxing jurisdictions. There will have to be trainings that will go online. They'll have to get to be expert enough to be a trainer to everybody else. There will be new forms and communication that the county clerks will have to send out to all taxpayers. And those, what are the dates on that mail out? You just told me, July or August?
August. We have to submit our intent by July 20th. So they send them out in August.
So there's a lot of things that are going to have to happen in a really short order. I think there's the possibility the governor vetoes it for all of those reasons if people don't feel like they can get this done in that amount of time. But if that doesn't happen, besides that piece, just a logistical little bit of a quick dance for us. One change that did occur was they did reduce further the threshold for the protest. So that's on what I guess we would consider the downside. Instead of 10% of all registered voters, which is what it was in the last version, it's now 10% of the people who voted in the most recent Secretary of State election. I don't feel confident in those numbers. That I've spoken to the election office here locally, but the number I was provided doesn't feel quite right to me. So to be determined what that is, but it is definitely in the hundreds and worst case scenario tens, but it could be in the hundreds, low hundreds. On the upside, they did take out new growth. They took out annexation land and they took out bonds so that those are not subject to the lid anymore. But in terms of when that comes in, if first it gets triggered into this protest petition or if that gets figured on the front end, all of that's a little gray. And Matt, if there's anything you would add, I would be happy for you to do that.
I think you covered what we know really well at this time. Thank you.
All right.
He does not want to subject himself to
Before we
language.
adjourn, I'd like to read these 17 letters from Wheatland Elementary and the Peanutville people. No, thank you to the children that give me the opportunity to go out there every year and do Peanutville with them. It's a third grade class and it's a great opportunity for the kids to see kind of what we do. And I was really impressed this year with the designs of the little cities they did. And I thank you very much for the letters. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Mayor, I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Yes.
Yes.
All opposed, no. Thank you all. Great job tonight.
So you'll be there Friday?
Do you have a letter from Holden?
Let's see.